Hey guys, how are you doing today? So I know, I'm sorry a video didn't go up on Friday, but I was super tired, but I did promise that I would get one up this weekend, and that's what I am doing. Today is April 1st, but that means that the whole entire month of March and March Mystery Madness and everything is over, and that means that it is time for a wrap up, and I am going to sort of go through all of the books. I'm also going to put down my cozy mystery rating scheme down below of each book so that you can see what punniness got for this book, the whodunit, the relationships, and everything like that. If you don't know what I am talking about, I created my own cozy mystery rating system, and I will link it down below so you can go and watch that video to see the breakdown of all of the different categories within my rating system. But without further ado, let's just get started. So I'm not necessarily doing these in order of when I read them. If they're a series, because I actually finished a series in March, I'm just going to lump them all together and talk about them briefly. So I finished the Pacific Northwest Mystery Series by Dyer-Seeley. The first one that I finished, this is book number 3. This is Silenced in the Surf. And this is all about Meg. She is going to the Columbia River Gorge, and she is going to be covering the King of the Hook event in Portland's West Extreme magazine. And one of the reasons why I love this series so much is there's a mystery within a mystery. Her father was killed, and she's trying to figure out, was he killed for the story that he was writing? What happened? And I love that it has the regular mystery within the cozy, but then it also has a deeper level mystery. And I've loved trying to figure out what it is and the whodunit within that mystery. So one of the main surfers, kind of cocky, kind of a douchebaggery kind of guy, he is killed, and Meg, of course, finds his body, and she's trying to figure out who did this. The next one that I read was First Degree Murder, and this is all about, I actually think that this is one of my favorites because Meg isn't a big, huge sports person. She kind of fibbed a little bit to get the job at Northwest Extreme, and she is actually putting herself through a 5K. The 5K is called it's Mud, Sweat, and Beers, and she actually signs up for a training team called Mind Over Mutter. And she's going to sort of keep the fans of Northwest Extreme on Twitter, social media, in the loop of how she is doing with her training. And there are 2 guys who are running Mind Over Mutter. One is this very hippie kind of nutritionist guy, and then the other one is actually an ex sort of drill sergeant, and he's very much your body is a temple kind of way. He actually says don't take any medicine, and it seems as they're going through the training, the ex-sergeant keels over with a heart attack, and Meg doesn't believe that this is just a coincidence. She actually believes that someone within the company or within her team is actually selling a sort of drug that is not good for you but helps you lose weight faster, and she's trying to figure out who did it. And I really like this. I like seeing her sort of fight her overgirliness in becoming something that is more what her job is and finding what her boundaries are within herself. And then the last book in the series that I finished, you can tell that it's pretty beaten up. I don't normally beat up my books this much, but I read this on the cruise, and it got put in bags, and it went everywhere with me. So this is In Cave Danger, and I'm pretty sure that this might be the last one in this series. I think that since she's writing the, because Kate Dyer-Seeley is Ellie Alexander as well, so she writes the Bake Shop Mystery series. She started Death on Tap. She also started the Natural Thorn Killer series. So she's got many series going on right now. And the way she ended this book, I feel calm. Like, I feel like she ended it well within the aspect of watching Meg grow and watching what was happening with her father's case and things like that. It's really, really good. She's going to the Bend and she's actually trying to report on the underground sort of volcanic tunnels within the Bend, and she runs into a lot of clues and information that sort of revolve around her father's last assignment that he was on, and I really liked watching her grow. So this is a fantastic series. The next book I'm going to talk about is Tidal Wave. This is a Booktown mystery series by Lorna Barrett, and I loved reading this because I actually read it while I was on a cruise, and it's based inside of a cruise. Well, they have decided that they're going to go on this cruise, but it's sort of a specifically themed cruise. It is a book cruise where authors, editors, and everyone within the bookish business are there to sort of rub elbows, make more connections, and just have a lot of fun with a little bit of relaxation. One of the really popular authors within the book is actually found murdered in her hotel room, and Trisha is the one that finds her, and she's also known within her town as the town Jinx because she seems to have bodies drop around her all the time. And she's trying to figure out what happened. At first she promises her sister, hey, I'm not going to get into this mystery, I'm going to let the security handle it, but she finds that the security is trying to say that this is a suicide when she really thinks that it's not a suicide. It's really, really good. I liked that I got to know a little bit more about Trisha and her sister and sort of how they grew up and why they are the way they are in terms of their relationship and how rocky it was at the beginning of the series versus now. I was really, really happy to read this. The next book that I'm going to talk about is a high-end finish. This was March's Cozy Mystery Book Club Book of the Month, and it was absolutely fantastic. It's written by Kate Carlisle, and this is, I loved it. It revolves around Shannon. She is actually a home renovator. She's a contractor, and I love the characters and everything that encompasses the characters. Shannon is sort of getting out of her comfort zone and starting to date again. She gets set up on a blind date with this man named Jerry, and the date's going well, right? Like, they're laughing, he seems to be a really good listener, and then he asks if they could go walk along the beach. I mean, how romantic is that? You can't get any better than that. Well, as they're walking on the beach, he starts making passes at her, and she's like, hey, I'm not really ready, this is first date, let's just take things slow. And he becomes more and more aggressive, ripping her shirt and trying to force himself upon her. She does take actions into her own hands and kicks him and knocks him down to the ground while people are cheering from the pier, but she might have also threatened to kill him if he ever came near her again, and then she ends up finding his body in a house that she is renovating in the basement, and she becomes the prime suspect. So in order to clear her name and make sure that her construction company doesn't go downhill, she has to sort of figure out what's going on. And I really, really like this. There is a live stream that we talked about this book, Angela from Books Are My Heart, and it is on my channel, so I will link it down below as well, and you can go and listen to the whole entire book chat. The amazing Kate Carlisle actually dropped by as well to answer a few questions, and it was just a lot of fun. Another book that I read for March Mystery Madness is Chocolate Chip Cookie Murder by Joanne Fluke. This is actually a Hallmark Movies and Mystery original movie, which so is a high-end finish that is also on the Hallmark channel if you want to go and see it. I really want to get the Hallmark channel so that I can actually watch the movies based on the books, but that's just, you know, time, and I'll get there. So this follows Hannah Swenson. She is sort of she runs a bakery within her small town, and she's come back to sort of start over from a horrible relationship, and she is ready to sort of start life over. Her mom believes that, you know, she shouldn't start life over by herself, so she tries to set her up on all of these different dates, but she keeps saying no, thank you. She's starting her day normal, like she normally would, driving to her shop early in the morning. She waves at the delivery man, who seems a little bit off, but she just knows that she'll talk to him later. She gets into her shop and is super excited to get the day started when she goes to the back and she realizes that the delivery man's a little late, and she is in the back alley and she realizes that he has been shot and killed. And her brother-in-law is actually the detective on the case, and he asks her to sort of help him along with the case. It was a good book. I am excited to read more of the series. It is a very, very popular series. I did think that it was a little weird how easily she was able to get into the case. I thought that that was a little bit awkward. I really wanted to see a little bit more. I also don't like the fact that the character in the book, I believe, has like bright red hair, and she's not blonde, and so that kind of threw me. Whenever I saw the cover, I had this expectation, and then when I read the book, I was like, oh, that's not what she looks like at all. Does anybody else have those problems where like they tweak the characters in the adaptation to a point in where you can't really even tell that that's the character, or maybe they even leave characters out? Overall, it was a really good book, though. Another book that I read in the month of March is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. Aaron and I actually listened to this on audiobook on the drive to Texas and the drive back. It is probably one of my favorite books I have ever read or listened to. The audiobook is read by Will Wheaton, which was fantastic. I absolutely loved listening to him read the story out loud. It was a really, really, really fun read. I loved getting to know the characters and falling in love with it. Aaron and I did see the movie, and if you want to know exactly how I felt, the Lawn Gnome and I are going to be talking about the book versus the movie on his channel, and when I get a link, I will link it down below. It might be for a little while, but let's just say the book is better. Like a lot better. A lot better. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. It was an amazing book. And the next book that I read was The Broken Girls by Simone St. James. I actually did a live sort of vlog while reading this book. This book was amazing. It was for my opposite challenge in the March Mystery Madness challenge. So a book that is opposite from the genre or subgenre that you normally read within mystery. And this is a thriller, and it follows two different timelines that I really, really like. One's 1950, and then one is in 2014, and it's based around an Idlewild school for girls, where girls who are not wanted are made from adultery, or maybe don't listen as well as their parents want them to go. And in 1950, it follows four girls who live in the same room. One of them goes missing, and then in 2014, it follows a reporter who can't get over the death of her sister from 20 years before. And it's really, really awesome how the two timelines sort of collide, and all of the people within those timelines collide. It was a really, really good book, and I could not put it down. I couldn't put it down. I highly, highly recommend this book. And last but certainly not least is Firefly Junction, Death in the Park by Lovett. And as you guys know, I absolutely love the Port Danby series by Lovett. This is the first in this series, and it is about a young woman named Sunny who is moving away from her high city job and just not so good connections back there. She's moving onto some land that is owned by her family where her sisters live, and she's going to sort of renovate this inn. And while she's renovating the inn, she got hired on at Firefly Junction newspaper. And her very first job is to sort of report on this janitor and him retiring. And, you know, it's not like the high-powered investigative work that she's used to, but she's gonna do it anyway. And she is shocked to find that he has been killed in the park of Firefly Junction. And she thinks maybe this this story is more interesting than I thought, but then she gets taken off of the story and it's given to someone else at the newspaper, but she believes that she's the one that can really crack the case, and she interviews people throughout the town, and as well as while she's doing that, she's trying to renovate her house, and her house is considered haunted, and she realizes that there's things that go missing. It's a really, really, really cute book. I don't know if I would say that it's my favorite of London Lovett's, but it is the first in the series. And the first in the series is always the setting up of the whole entire world, right? Like, you're being introduced to all of these characters. You're being introduced to the way these characters interact with each other and how the town's dynamic is. And so I am most definitely going to pick up book 2 when it comes out. I love the Port Danby series, and so I know that this series has a lot of potential because the author is amazing. So I'm really, really looking forward to it. So that is the end of this chapter of Courtagonist. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, happy reading. Bye.